Assalamu alaikum everyone, peace be upon you. So we are live with Tabassum Sabir, Master Coach, CEO of Beautiful Coaching and Emotional Mastery Coach. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum everybody.
So Tabassum has kindly came on to share her journey from being an employee and to become an entrepreneur, and a very successful one as well. So Tabassum would like to start with telling us about yourself.
Yeah, so okay, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit further so people have an idea of how long I've been an employee for. So I've been working since the age of 15 as an employee. I've had jobs that I've loved. So I worked part-time jobs that I absolutely loved through uni, and then I transitioned after graduating from uni, being a research scientist for 10 years in a job that I absolutely loved. I then got married and moved quite far away, travel-wise. It was a lot to travel, and became pregnant. And that was the initial time where I thought, okay, maybe I need to transition into something that's a little bit more flexible. And fortunately they had voluntary redundancies at work at the time after birth of my son. So I was just right, great, that's a sign. And inshallah, I took the redundancy and decided I was gonna make it running a business of my own. At that time I'd qualified as a makeup artist. It was semi-successful, my basis. It was difficult to go out for makeup jobs because of breastfeeding and the needs of a firstborn child and stuff. And the kind of like, not the lack of, but didn't have much of the family support at that time initially. So I was really struggling to just go out in and out of the house and just make this business work. I also didn't have a clue how to market myself, now looking back completely. So then I fell into the network. I think network marketing came first, or it was Elenique. It was one of the two. It was either a clothing business or network marketing when I came across you. And alhamdulillah, I was making a go of network marketing. It was working out really well. The bonus thing was I didn't have to hold stock. I could market. But I was terrified of going live, completely terrified of showing up online, because I'd done several businesses. I thought, oh my God, people are going to think this is another business that she's doing. They're not going to pay any interest. And the great thing about network marketing, you do get a lot of training, you do get a lot of support. But when you've got specific things like mindset stuff, so there was a lot of mindset work in network marketing, but there was a lot of specific things that were not being addressed, and I just couldn't put my finger on. So I started to make a little go of my business, and then I would like stop for ages. I would become sick. I would attend to the children. I'd have personal problems going on, and then I'd go back to the business. And this was a continuous cycle that I kept on running. Until I came across yourself, and I was like, oh, what's this that Naz is doing? So yeah, that was my main, I think, entry into the real entrepreneurial world, I think, and realizing that I wanted to run my own business full time.
Oh, that's amazing. Did you ever think in school you'll be an entrepreneur?
You know when you sent me that question was really interesting, because I think, looking back now, parts of me definitely felt like I wanted to run my own business. I saw mum and dad always being quite constrained by work, so it was always like, oh, we can't do that because your dad has to go to work, or mum has to work, or we've got to do this. Money stuff was always really tight as a child as well, so I think I found work as a constraint. But it was good as long as you didn't have any other commitments. So as long as you weren't married, as long as you didn't have children, it was great, because you could just go to work and come home and do your own thing. When it came to having the other commitments, I thought it was something that I would have to do. I'd have to look at something more flexible, running my own business, just because I didn't think that being an employee would give me what I needed. So that was the main thing. So as a child, I did dibble and dabble out of businesses. I had quite a successful business when I was about 21. And again, for personal reasons, I just had to pack that in. It's just, I didn't continue it. But because I always had the job to fall back on, and I wanted the consistent income, it was never, I'd always just kind of pushed it to the back of my mind. So yeah, kind of yes, and kind of no, not really as well.
So yeah. as a child then, as a young child, were you like, are you from like parents, your background from employees? Is that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. My parents were they're strong believers in work and jobs, and they believe in the 9 to 5, and it's all security and pensions and healthcare, and it was all about going to uni, getting a good education so that you could get a good job. The other thing I was constantly reminded of was like you do need to go to uni in case something happens with your husband, and then like you've got something to fall back on, like you've got something that you can support him with, or vice versa, like you're both working in jobs. So I was never really, my dad did have an opportunity for a takeaway business, but the risk of it, he had a lot of fear around that, so he didn't go forward with that opportunity. So I think the idea of entrepreneurship was quite scary for me, because I was like, I needed the safety and security more so.
Yeah, I think that's why most people stay in their job, especially if they don't like it, because it gives them that safety, security. Especially in England, you've got loads of benefits to be an employee. You can go sick, and you can have that sick pay, and I think letting go of that security is a huge mindset shift that we've got to get through.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
So you kind of mentioned you started your first business when you were 21, and then you kind of on and off, but then you went into network marketing.
So so there's been a few. So there was at 21, there was a modest clothing boutique, which at the time there wasn't that internet boom, there wasn't Facebook at that time. When I think it just launched or something, so it was very different. You'd market yourself on the internet, on Google, and I had loads of clients, but my mum, as you well know my history, my mum was always in and out of hospital. My parents have been quite sick, so I kind of I couldn't do the job and the business at the same time with parents' responsibility. So I just thought, okay, I'll just continue with the job, because that was the secure thing to continue with at that time. I then went into makeup, and again the makeup thing was more like everybody else is doing it. I could see other people were making money. It wasn't really my personal passion. I haven't ever been really creative or artistic in that way, so I found it really challenging. But for me, it was the focus of flexible hours and money, and again I didn't really have that completely, I think, in the way that I wanted it. And then the network marketing, that was great, because I think the biggest thing that I learned from the other two businesses is holding a lot of stock or buying stock, and I didn't have to do any of that. That was where I really got introduced to personal development, which was lovely. I started to read all the books and watch all the videos and have a lot of training, go to the events. That was really significant. But even after that, I had the LNE, so I tried to relaunch the clothing business. By this time, Facebook and Instagram had boomed, and I didn't have a clue how to market on either. I didn't know how to get my business out there, because there was thousands of people on these platforms, and I didn't know how to be seen. And I also tried to start a social media agency, from off the back of which I got employment from like friends. But again, it was a job that marketing myself I didn't find easy, and secondly, there wasn't that real passion that I was craving and I was looking for. So that was there's been lots of little businesses along the way.
And I just want to say what you can, like, not emphasize what you said. When did you become successful then?
When I had coaching. So there's two things with the coaching. With the coaching, was letting go of the safety and security stuff. That was a real big thing for me. Letting go of those childhood things that I was trying to hold on to. But secondly, also finding my purpose whilst coaching with yourself and stuff. That was massive. And I think launching a business at the same time of having coaching was just so pivotal, because it built my confidence. I was letting go of all these little bits of baggage at the same time, and yet I was building my confidence, and I was learning new strategies which I'd never even known before. Like, that you'd introduced me to like so many like attraction marketing and stuff like that, never heard of before. And that was really, really life-changing. So I think it was the mindset shift. I always say to my clients now, if I went back and did any of those businesses, I believe I could make those successful, because I have the mindset of an entrepreneur now. At that time, it was that shift. I needed the consistent income, which I think is why I kept on dabbling in different things. I wanted to meet my income like the first month and just continue to, and I realized in entrepreneurship that's not always realistic. Sometimes it happens, but just to pace myself slowly and build it up slowly, and the mindset shift was just, I think that was the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, definitely. So the mindset shift. So when you were doing the mindset work, did you have to change how you thought about money?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that was the biggest one for me, I think. My idea, because I compared everything to my full-time job. So my income would have to be the same as my full-time job. I wanted to be working less hours. I wanted my cake and I wanted to eat it too. But I think actually understanding that that's also possible. It was the stretching your mindset to the fact that those things that you think that aren't possible in entrepreneurship when you're an employee are very much possible as an entrepreneur. Like there's things that I often say this to my clients now, that there's things that I didn't imagine that I would say to my clients, like you can work 12-hour weeks and earn X amount of income, because it's very possible. But at that time it was shifting that belief, shifting my mindset around money was massive. Shifting my self-worth was really a big part of it, because that was based on how I would charge my clients. I had a big thing around that for a long time. That was life-changing, because once I realized what my self-worth was, I was able to charge the amount to make my business the success I wanted it to be. I was earning the full-time income in part-time hours, and that was huge.
Definitely, and that's really different. Even just acknowledging that, because as an employee you have to work so many hours to make that. And in business, you don't have to work that many hours to get the same amount or more.
100%.
There's different things you do, right? There's outsourcing as well.
Yeah.
So for me, money was like so high. What was money for you?
It was everything. It defined me. It made everything in my world together. There was that whole understanding of money defined me, because it defined the things I could do with money. But now I think I've come away from that and understand that money gives me more choices, so that's great. So it does mean I can outsource. The other thing that you've just said about working, like I thought as an entrepreneur you had to work harder, like you'd have to work more hours. So as an employee you work like 38 hours, 40 hours. I thought I'd be working 50, 60 hours. I'd spend weekends working, I remember when we first met. And I remember you saying, do you know what, you need to live your life, the ideal life that you want as well at the same time. And I didn't really that didn't click for a really long time for me, until I started to practice those things. My business really started to take off then. So it was the whole mindset of like, actually you can enjoy your business. It can be fun, and it can be something that you enjoy and flourish in, at the same time as having a life and having all your other commitments, but still having this thing that you wanted in your life the whole time. So yeah, it's been lovely. It's been a great journey.
Yeah, definitely, because this is your successful business now.
Yeah.
What tips can you give like a new person who is sort of like doing different things and isn't sure where they want to go, and kind of it makes money, doesn't make money, but kind of inconsistent? What tips can you give that person?
Definitely reflect on what your values are, what's important to you. Look at your relationship with money. That's huge. And and also your relationship with self-worth. Like that is a big part of business. I think so many of us think that we've got shiny object syndrome. We need to invest in this course and that course because that will make us great. But it really does come back to your emotions and how you feel about certain things. So once the most the needle has moved for me is every time I have a breakthrough. So like that's been huge. The mindset and the emotional stuff has pushed my business to levels that I couldn't even imagine, actually. So I think that is the biggest tip, is just don't always think that it's about strategy. Sometimes it is about your mindset, and sometimes it's a combination of the two. So it's understanding what you need. It's very normal to want to buy everything, I think, and people think that by learning more they'll do more. but sometimes it's the emotions and the mindset that you really need to focus on and gain more self-worth. So that's definitely my biggest tip.
Yeah, like learning strategies isn't always the answer. It's about getting rid of your stuff, right? The old program.
Yeah.
Emotions and how you,
because otherwise you're coming from a place of like pushing even content, like people say, oh, post on Instagram, Facebook, it's coming from a completely different place. When you're aligned with it and you've got that self-worth and that value, and you know what you're putting out then for what reason, and you're addressing your clients or your ideal client, again, something I've learned through you, it's a different feeling, and business feels different. It feels good and it feels fun and it feels enjoyable, and the impact seems to be more, which is amazing as well. So yeah,
and I think that's a big one, and I want to emphasize what you've just said there, because if you feel good and you're aligned and you're just taking a little bit of action, like you're posting once a day, whatever that is, video post, you get more barakah in it. Like it repels it. Like, there's a ripple effect to your work. Whereas if you're feeling low, it's like, oh well, no one's watching, no one's doing nothing, nothing's happening because you're not feeling good. Whereas in a job, it doesn't matter how you feel, you still get paid as long as you do your job.
So because when I was in my job and I was launching the coaching business, as you know, I wasn't going live to attract clients at that time. I was going live because it felt good and I wanted to share my story. And I was getting people messaging me going, are you a coach? Have you started coaching people? And I was like, I was really shy to go, oh, okay, actually, am I a coach? And it took obviously that experience. And now even when I don't feel my best, I just won't post, I won't go live, because it's coming from a completely different place. I only post and go live when I feel really good about it, which is alhamdulillah most of the time. But also the fact that it feels really effortless. Business feels, and I had this in my head that there's going to be so many strategies I need to apply, but it does actually feel so effortless from where I thought you've got to have all these processes in place. It's just letting go. But again, that comes from self-worth, dealing with my money mindset. That was a big part of it. The abundance stuff and enjoying one client at a time and appreciating that and building on that. And it's been a snowball effect, alhamdulillah.
Yeah. So you research. So how long have you been in this business? I would say, is it your 2 years, 1 year?
It's coming up, I think it's 18 months when I officially launched. I think I was doing it for slightly longer, but I think I was hiding myself initially. I wasn't being very visible. But again, that came from working with like my emotions and my self-worth and stuff. So yeah, 18 months actually fully out there, alhamdulillah. And it's just been, like I said, it's just been amazing, alhamdulillah.
18, so now we have to date this. This is May 2021. So if you watch this later on, it's obviously more. I'm just looking in case there's any questions.
Sure.
There is one question. Oops, we're having double okay, so we've got what you feel internally. Okay, that was a question. That was a comment by Isma. What you feel internally definitely makes a bigger impact. So yeah,
so true.
So true. Wow, what's your ratio in your mind from your last 18 months? Is it how much percentage did you have to work on your mindset, self-worth, money, and then strategy? What's for you? What is the percentage?
I would say that's a really good question. I would say about 60% has been mindset, 60 to 70% even. I would stretch it even more. Although it's interesting because I've invested in a lot in strategy in the last 18 months, but I've actually found even with the strategy, the programs and stuff I've invested in, I haven't actually been able to make those work until I've had the mindset shift. So 30% has been strategy, but until the mindset was there and the shift had taken place, I couldn't actually apply the strategy. And sometimes that takes me some time, or I've had like breakthroughs and stuff. So that's been, I'd say mindset definitely more than anything.
Yeah, because it's sometimes, at least for a new person, strategy is not hard. It's pretty easy. You don't need to buy funnels in your first day.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing that now, and I guess you are as well. But in the beginning, it's literally simple stuff. Get that skills. So what skills would you give a newbie that they need to go and learn? Because strategy is important, but what would first skills be when it comes to strategy?
getting clear on what your purpose and what your content is and stuff like that. But again, that comes back to ideal client, and it's funny because we've come back to this so many times, haven't we, in our sessions, where you've gone, what's your ideal client, what's your ideal client, what's your ideal client, because it does change. So alhamdulillah, you have to develop that as you develop your business. So I think that is really the baseline. But apart from that, there's things that that work really well. Conversations, that was such a huge thing. I think the time I met you, I was sending copy and paste messages. I still actually have a copy of my copy and paste message. It's embarrassing, but I share it with my clients because I want them to know that this is not the way. It's building relationships, how to engage with people, how to the mindset shift of just understanding that you will receive amazing clients, or they will come to you naturally just from the content that you post out. That everybody's unique in their own. That's been a huge learning for me this year, that everybody's unique, because I had when I first started, I had a lot of imposter syndrome as well. I was almost, the reason I kept myself so hidden was because I thought that there's so many coaches out there, so many amazing coaches out there, why should I go out there and be a coach? But I think I've learned that my journey connects with certain people. I'm not going to coach 1.6 billion people in the world. So yeah, it makes sense for like lots of coaches and people that connect with those people. So learning that you are needed out there just as much as everybody else that is launching their business. That was a huge shift. Alhamdulillah, I'll say.
That's a really big, and I hope everyone takes that, because everyone somewhere is doing the same thing as what other hundreds and thousands are doing.
Yeah.
But you're unique the way you do it. I do it differently. That person does it differently. And your people will come to you, and abundance comes in, like you said. It's a spiritual thing, right? When you know Allah will bring your people, you have the trust, and you get more.
100%. When you let go of that, and I think you have the understanding where you can enjoy your life. That's the thing of coming out of the employee mindset, is knowing that you can just live your life the way that you actually want to and you choose to. I think when you're an employee, it's you're answering to somebody. You have to do things in a set way. You can't just take 6 days off. I mean, that was a massive thing for me. If my kids were sick, I'd feel guilty for taking time off. Now I can say to my clients, look, my kids are sick. They're great, because most of them are mums anyway, and they'll be like, we totally understand. So it's that lack of that guilt's gone. The ease has come. I'm at the school gates with the kids, and it's just lovely. Alhamdulillah.
It's lovely seeing you, like loving your business, your life. If there's any questions anyone wants to ask Tabassum, I'm looking at them now. If you put it in now, we'll be able to answer them. And if you want to put them in later, then just tag Tabassum in the comment section. I'm sure she would come. Anything you want to cover that I haven't asked you? Anything that you want to share that I haven't asked you?
I just want people to remember not to invest lots of money. Don't have shiny object syndrome. It's really common mistake that a lot of people fall into. You don't have to pay for advertising, sales funnels, all of those stuff, not in the beginning. Just there's organic methods that you can learn that will really help you launch your business in an amazing way, and find your purpose, find what you're connected to, and you're passionate about, because you'll just show up for your business no matter what. That's part of the journey. So alhamdulillah.
Brilliant. Okay, so there is no live questions, but anyone wants to ask you later on, I'm sure they'll tag you. Thank you so much for joining. It's been lovely chatting to you.
Thank you.
I don't know, just been part of your journey. It's been lovely.
Yeah, you've been here the whole time, alhamdulillah. So it's been amazing. We've had like lots of mini breakthroughs around the business as well. So it's a big learning curve, and alhamdulillah, I'm grateful. You've taught me so many skills I can't even imagine. So alhamdulillah, I'll be taking those forward.
Been part of the journey, and love you and leave you. And obviously, if you want to catch up with Tabassum, I will tag your profile. You can always reach out to you for any guidance when it comes to you launching something big as well after August. Training coaches, certifying coaches. It is after August, right?
Yes, September, inshallah. Inshallah.
Yeah, that's right. Oh gosh, I'll see you live then in the actual in Birmingham.
I know, I can't wait. Finally.
We haven't physically met.
I know, just be virtually but only. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, so inshallah we'll meet then. It'll be like weird to see people, humans in the same room.
Yes, I know. Be able to touch her. Or maybe not.
Behind there.
Yeah.
Okay, my lovely, have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining.
you. Thank you for having me. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.